finally, I have just about 1 hour before I finished the study of the risk, reliability, and safety. Now I go back to fuck that. For the geomechanics today, week 3, I think there's also Mr. who is doing some summary and for the test. Actually, this one weighs much more. I guess it's a bit like 16%. The other one for the 4401 is only 4%.
It's only why. For example, for sand, when the sand is dry, it is falling apart. Only due to the sand castle, we have to use with other water, and because the suction forces between the sand and water keep everything together. But without, you can't use the sand castle with dry sand. Or you can use the sand with a little clay that can give you a bit of cohesion that can stand up. Um, so the cohesion for clay is really when you mix water and salt, but when you dry, it's very strong. That's based on the bricks we make from the high clay. And we talked about this. I don't want to repeat about well breathing and good breathing, but I want to be able to
Uh,
look at all the structures. The three types of main clay minerals. Once you start the geotechnical
Polynight.
design,
Kaolin.
and
Kaolinite.
may hear about this more and more. So the kaolinite is the one that we it's probably more common use the clay, and certainly is a lot of the clay we have in the laboratory we have in lab one, they will include some kaolinite clay. So we see the strongest structure between the different units and the basic building blocks and giving the strong connections between them. And this is the worst clay you can find is the non-organized clay. It's very good connection between layers and very easy to absorb water into a structure and can expand the volume greatly and especially handled by going for foundation and so we can look at rock to keep the leaking of the dams. And Eli is a clay mineral that rises between carbonized clay and non-organic clay. I'm hoping that once you go through the model one in content, the first time you only need to study for this test, you can take one introduction to physical volume. But later on, you're going to learn about the rock cycles. Once you learn about the rock cycles, you're going to learn weather process, how the nature can bring down large rocks and small pieces from sand and clay and so on. During those processes, you may be able to recognize that some of the disintegration of some of the rock
Affinity.
the rock minerals will become clay. And hopefully you recognize to have the chemical composition is probably a more carbonized clay and the other thing is more clay. So to look at it and look to this geology, and that's how you look at inside structures and composition. The other thing I want to talk about is this one here, the exercise we trying to do.
Fuck.
So once you listen to the pre-recorded lectures, you probably can figure out what is clay, what is a sieve when you do a field. That you don't have the laboratory facilities and you can just take and feel and squeeze and roll the thread. And you can figure out this fine soil, if it's a fine soil, is more belongs to clay or more belongs to sieve. To recognize which behavior is clay and sieve is one thing, and give a reasoning to say why do you think the characteristics belong to sieve and clay. We said the first one is the grittiness. Remember we talked about the fabric of the particles. All the gravel, sand, and silt, they all granular materials. And so when you rub it between your fingers, you feel the grittiness because, because of the particle shape. And because the clay is flat shaped particles, and they give you the smooth feeling of it. So the graded feeling will indicate that the more silkiness and the grittiness and that to be more clean. The second one is a test you need to do in the laboratory as well to measure the soil's plastic limits. And this is what you do. So you mix the fine soils with water, and then you roll on the plate to a thread. And when you just roll through a thread to the given size of the diameter, I think it's 3 millimeter, then it's just about to crumble, but not quite falling apart. And that's when the fine soil reaches the plastic limit. But in the field, you can mix with water, you can roll it easily to a little thread, to a thin thread, but that we have one clay in it that holds everything together. And without that plasticity from clay, if it's just silt or majority of silt, it won't have enough plasticity to hold the water and the particles together or crumble. And so the thread will not be smooth, will just falling apart a little heavy. So for the third one is to stroke with the blade. This again comes with the shape of the particle and the affinity of the particle to water. And because the clay particles are flat shaped and they can absorb water to the top and bottom of the surface, and that's why the shape and the affinity of water can show the shyness when you stroke the soil with a blade. But because silt doesn't have the cohesion, doesn't have the ability to absorb water to the surface, and the surface is more spherical or cubical, you won't show that shiny when you stroke with the blade. I think this one should be relatively straightforward. When you allow the soil to dry, fine soil you allow to completely dry, and if you're falling apart, that's more silt, and if you stick together and very hard break, that's having more clay in it. And that's the cohesion that clay can display that the silt present. The last one is probably the most difficult one to understand.
靠，咱们今天一天没开结冰软件。靠！3月9号，正好周四我去弄的。周六上个网申请一下。好久没去网吧打过早市。Field identification of soil and silt and clay. Cry. Surprise.
So what we do is that you have a wet soil, and then you squeeze it, and you open your hand, maybe shake or tap your hand on the soil sample. Sometimes the water can come out from the sample and come to the surface, and that's why we say the you can see the surface. So what we do is that you have a wet soil, and then you squeeze it, and then you open your hand, maybe shake or tap your hand on the soil sample. Sometimes the water can come out from the sample and come to the surface, and that's why we say the you can see the surface movement. You can see the water coming out. And the other sample, when you tap it, you squeeze it, you tap it, and not much change. So they said no moisture being formed, that means there's no water comes out. The reason for this one is that the soup doesn't has the ability to hold water to its particle to itself. So when you squeeze it, it will come out, the water will come out, goes into wet soil. But clay, because each particle, the top and the bottom surface, with a negative charge, that can absorb the water, attract the water, the positive end of water to its surface. And because of that attraction, the clay particles can hold water to its particle surface. So when you squeeze your head, it's not easy for the water to come out. That's how much attraction that they have between the clay particles and the water particles. So that's why for clay, you won't have that water in, but for steel, you will. Okay, so this is the last session of the module 2.
Start.
Don't finish everything. You should know everything. So today we're going to maybe look at the overall revision of this module 2. And if you have time, you can look at the questions that you practice for module 1 for this session of chapter 1. But before we do this, I want to show you something that the computer doesn't work for me for that one day. I hope all of you have done the online exam before, right? Has anybody ever done the online exam before? Oh, actually, okay. So that was for you too. Or for anybody who hasn't practiced. So if you go on the LMS of this unit, I have set up under the assessment. I want to show you if I can't now. Under the assessment is a mock module test. Go in there. You have all the instructions of how to submit your writing papers after the test. So the test is designed online on the LMS. So some of the questions like multiple choice questions or 100 questions is very quick answer and submit. But there will be questions you have to work on your paper, make sure you get your paper and pen and do everything ready. And bring these two papers to the test. You can do the test anywhere at home or anywhere with Wi-Fi connections and with the camera on the computer. You can connect to the Teams. But for any written working steps, you need to take photos and submit on LMS. And on the mock module test, go inside, they give you all the full instructions that what's the max of links that you need to download on your smartphone, and maybe you need to set up OneDrive account on your UWA account. And so when you take the photo, they will upload to the your OneDrive account and the form PDF format, and you can submit through the LMS submission. So practice this before the test, so you don't have to be too rushed. But even though during the test, because it's only 1 hour and 10 minute test, you're given 15 minutes to submit, to take photos and submit as a PDF form. For any reason that the time is cut off, as I say, no more submission, and you can't submit it anymore, and don't panic. And you can always email your workings to me if you cannot submit successfully. We will give you allowance of time that you can submit for the workings. That's it about the test. Any questions you have on the test? I'm going through them in the test.
这是我最讨厌的地方，什么东西它都没有演示，都不演示，我靠，让我自己摸索，那耗费时间。就跟我第一周开学啊，我啥也不知道，操，好蠢。
You may do your PhDs on the Excel, but you have to be able. Okay, you need to practice because at the moment, I recommend you just bring the paper, write down the answers, put the plot there, and classify the solo, and take photo and send through that process. However, if you say I'm really good with Excel or with whatever software I can use, I can just use that to do the PhDs, do everything, but you have to make sure that you can submit it as PDF file at the end. If you can do that, I have no problem that you can use whatever software you want to use. But at the end of the day, you have I don't recommend, but if you are good at this, you can. And the test is open book. You can check anything you want, any notes. And if the students say, can I just check my written notes? Can I check the online notes? Whatever notes you can find, it's fine. However, I think the trap that's normally the students fall in because they say, open book, I don't need to study anything that when I look at the questions, I look at the book and look at the notes, I
But you
can
don't have
find out
time.
how to do it. Problem in any open book exams, most of the time you won't have time to check everything. You might have a bit of time to check it. I'm not quite sure that I know where to find it. But if you think that you're going to check the whole notes for every single question, you definitely will have enough time. So make sure you study and you spend your time wisely. So the 70 minutes testing will be 10 minutes on module one. There'll be 5 randomly chosen multiple choice questions. And
Uh,
20
moment.
minutes testing will be 10 minutes on module one. There'll be, I'm not quite sure that I know where to find it. But if you think that you're going to check the whole notes for every single question, you definitely will have enough time. So make sure you study and you spend your time wisely. So
Study.
the 70 minutes testing will be 10 minutes on module one.
10 minutes in module 1 para module 1.
There'll be 5 randomly chosen
5 random.
multiple choice questions. And 1 random chosen short answer question. So that's what you that's for the module one. Right? Most of the time, you won't have time to check everything. You may have a bit of time to check it. I'm not quite sure, but I know where to find it. But if you think that you're going to check the whole notes for every single question, you definitely will have enough time. So make sure you study and you spend your time wisely. So the 70 minutes testing will be 10 minutes on module one. There'll be choice questions. And 1 random choosing short answer question. So that's for the module one. And there will be 2 questions for analysis and comments and everything. So that's for the module one. And there will be 2 questions for analysis and comments and everything. Then you write down your working for 1 multiple choice questions and 1 random choosing short answer question. So that's for the module one. And there will be 2 questions for analysis and comments and everything. Then you write down your working. You can type in the final answer. Like for example, for the particle size distribution and the classification, so it's a well-word integrable, so GW. So you can write the GW on the LMS as the final answer. Only the final answer. I don't want to type in too much. Only the final answer. All the workings should be on your paper, and then you can scan the photo and submit after the online submission.
What?
Yeah. Yep. How many? Okay, so on paper, there'll be 10 marks on the module 1, 50 marks for the module
10 marks.
2. But okay, so on paper, there'll be 10 marks on the module 1, 50 marks for the module 2, but they have become converted to whatever the overall 60% of the test for the overall unit. But on paper, it's 60 marks. Yeah? Yeah, that's just what kind of questions, but that one is on paper. Yeah.
Could you please repeat the question?
What do you think? Anybody know the answer of that question? For the, I have uploaded the previous on paper test on module 2 content to say what kind of question the format is like. And you have solutions for that test paper?
No,
You want it or you have it?
I want it.
Anybody? Any idea? Actually, we did that. We did that question on the last week, the extra exercise. That's the same data. Yeah, so you have the solutions. Yeah. Yeah.
Excuse me, I cannot hear.
6 questions. Tool analysis, the questions is for module 2, and some short answer questions for module 2 as well. One, two, three, four, 5. Multiple choice. 1, that's 6, and 1, 2, that's 7, and there'll be 2 more short answer questions every 9. Yeah. So if you look at the previous text questions, you can find that it's not just pure calculation. Of course, you have to get the calculation right to get the right answer, but it's not just about calculation, it's understanding, I'll give you soil, classify this, what does it mean, how do you link that to engineering design, is that good for soil, foundation soil, or not, and why. So those kind of things you need to think about for whatever the soil you analyze. Okay, so if you don't have more questions yet. Okay, the random questions is coming. Okay, the question will come out of the what's that question? The initial question, the title is things to study, testing your knowledge. Yeah. But the answer may not be right. That's true. Geology is a science. A lot of things still need to be discovered. Yes. Why cavemen have never met a dinosaur? Yes. We know. We just no. We know because we were not there. Because the dinosaurs extinct 65 million years ago, and the human only came 3 million years ago. Is it? That's what you exist today? Oh, you mean the same spaces?
What the fuck are they talking about? This student is idiot.
Okay.
Just talking
That I
about
don't
stupid.
know. I'll take that question out. Yeah.
Thank you for wasting my time, this
To keep
idiot.
discussing that point, I'll take that question out. If it makes sense. Okay. I think yeah. Wait, if you have time, I can just open up again.
Fuck, I'm not understanding.
Right? Which is based on the 50 standard. You have to use the calculation of all the variables, but inside the calculation, inside the formula, you can use all the measurement data in that particular calculation of one variable, or you can use the relationship between different variables, which is based on the 50 standard. Yeah. So you can't mix these two together. That's the thing. Yeah. Yeah. So when you use the formula, you can run the formula based on the 3D diagram. That's fine. So the comment that in this calculation, we use based on the 3D diagram. That's fine.
Study. Study.
So the comment that in this calculation, we use all the laboratory measurement data. That's fine. But when it comes to the second question, we use all the relationships between the different variables based on these 3D diagram. So Vx equals 1 is the first condition of this 3D diagram. Is that always is you you can say V is equal to 2, the relationship between the variables will be the same. So it's the starting point of the development of this physics diagram, or the assumption or precondition to build a relationship between. So it doesn't matter. You can say V equals 100, it doesn't really matter. Because everything else will be 100 times on whatever we do now. But the relationship between the different variables will be exactly the same. Okay. Yep. We introduce the field mechanics and its relative development within the civil discipline. And we said the geotechnical engineering or geomechanics is the youngest branch among the civil engineering design compared to structure mechanics and the fluid mechanics. And we called Carl de Gasperi as the father, the pioneer of the geomechanics branch. And we had people asking to say, okay, if the geomechanics started from the 1930s, what about the pyramid is, still standing there, that is 3,000 years ago? People know how to do it. But the thing is, the previous ones, they all try and error. They try it, they stand, they do something similar. If it doesn't, they get stronger. And even for the pyramid, they stand up today as a tourist attraction. And if you know the history a little bit more, because lots of pyramids built, and lots of areas, and they are still standing today for the few stronger ones. So the key is that we can design it. Previously, we didn't think we could design it, so it is so variable. Even now, it's still, even we can classify the steel, clay, and gravel sand. And if you just look at sand, they're all different types of sand. And if you look at clay, they're all different types of clay. And because all the soil is mixtures, maybe a little bit sand, a little bit gravel, and a little bit steel, and a little bit clay, all mixed together. And you go to the next part of the wall, and the mixture can be different. So they all behave differently. That's what is fascinating about geotechnical engineering. It needs a lot of knowledge, experience, and your engineering judgment on the design. They are principles, but they are a lot of variations as well. And we talk about the geomechanics, it's about the mechanics of materials, and it's about stress and the strain relationship between the Malaysia, we probably see more clay. So there's reasons why you have to design everything out of the world. Then we ask you to look at the search for some examples to say, if we, as geotechnical engineer, if we do not understand the geomechanics of geotechnical engineering well, and maybe use design data, give you a few examples about the 30-story building in Shanghai and the Pisa Tower in Italy. So that's two examples. I want you to look at the internet, look at the boards, look at whatever you can, resources you can use to find some examples that can demonstrate that the design of geomechanics is important, as important as other designs in the project we do. So, before examples. The importance of geotechnical design. And in the one of the examples, the Pisa Tower, we said the first attempt to try to correct the leaning of the tower, and we injected the cement to the leaning side. Instead of correcting back, they leaned further. Because at the time, we did not understand. That's well before the geomechanics was established. So we did not understand soil behavior. So in that instance, so the Pisa Tower leaned further with cement injection. So I asked that question to say why, can you search, can you investigate? And later on, we learned about the clay, because under the Pisa Tower is a soft clay. The clay has a characteristic that when you reduce the water content, the volume is increasing. When you increase the water content, the volume is increasing. So what happens when we inject cement, and cement, during the curing process of cement, absorbs water from the surrounding clay. So when they do the curing process, because the water is absorbed into the cement curing process, so therefore the surrounding clays, the water content in the surrounding clays is reduced as well. And that's why the quality is reduced, and that's why the people are going further. So that volume change characteristics with the water content increase is the reason that why the people are going further. So later on in the 1990s, we add tons of lead on the other side to make sure that it doesn't use anymore. So we can see that with understanding the characteristics of soil behavior and the relationship between volume change and water content change, and we can understand how the soil should behave. Okay, so that's about the introduction of the geomechanics. Then we look at the second part is the soil classification. We said this one we use the unified soil classification system. And we introduced the 3 steps. I really want you to follow those 3 steps. And we show this one multiple times. We said the first step is to look at the separation between coarse soils and fine soils. See if it's right. For classification, we need to look at the 60 micron line. 9. This is 4 line. That's the first thing you need to do. Whatever the kind of size distribution before, you'll find, you get. Follow those 3 steps, and we show this one multiple times. We said the first step is to look at the separation between coarse soils and fine soils. See if it. Right. For classification, we need to look at the 60 micron line. This is 4 line. That's the first thing you need to do. Wherever the final size distribution before, you'll find, you get. Draw one line along the 60 microns. On the left-hand side is fine soil. On the right-hand side is coarse soil. And you read the percentage. If this intersection of your curve with this vertical line, 60 micron vertical line, if it's less than 50%, that means we have more than 50% on the coarse soil side. The soil is coarse soil, like A, B, and C. And this is all less than 50%. If this one is more than 50%, that means we have more than 50% soil on the left-hand side, and the soil is fine soil. And then we have to do the plasticity test to classify them. So you have to do this one as the first step, and to recognize if the soil needs to go to the sealing test or go to the plasticity test. What do? In the laboratory, we use the stage, the 63 micron seed, and to see it. We say more than 50% remains on the seed, or more than 50% passing the seed. Then we decide how do we classify them. So if you do have more than 50% remain on the 60 micron seed, and you need to do the series of seed tests at the large seed of salt and the smaller one, and shape the system and measure the retained amount and for the particle size distribution curve. So that's the first step, only these 60 micron line. Identify coarse or fine soil. If it's coarse soil, we go to the step 2. So this is step 1. And the step 2 is we have more than 50% soil on the coarse side. We need to identify sand or gravel, which one has the larger proportion. So you have to recognize the proportion of each soil. So what do? You draw another line at 2 millimeter line. To recognize the proportion of gravel and sand. So you need to be able to recognize the proportion of it. So if this intersection here is 42%, and this is 100%, and between these two is the proportion of gravel. So that's 58% gravel and 42% sand. Then the first letter has to be gravel because gravel has the larger portion. After this, you can look at fines. So if these fines less than 5%, don't worry about it. You do the well grading or poor grading using the CC and CE calculation. And if the fines is a significant amount, like this one is 21%, you have to keep it larger than 4%, you have to classify these parts. So how we classify this part, we is using the CC and CE calculation. And use of fines is a significant amount, but it's less than 5%, don't worry about it. We do the well grading or full grading using the CC and CE. Calculation. And use of fines is a significant amount, but this one is 21%. You have to, it's larger than 4%, you have to classify this part. So how do we classify this part? We only test the soil with passing through the 63 microns, the C. Only the fine soil part. Then we test the plasticity in the laboratory, testing the liquid limit, which we're going to do for the polling test, and we do the plasticity test, which is rolling the moisture sample into a test. So this, when you have a majority, when you have a large portion, more than 4%, you have to classify it, and less than 5%, don't worry about it. Between 5 and 4%, we need to do classification. During the due classification, you need to look at the well grading or poor grading and the fines for seal and fine. But sometimes we do sealing tests, we only do it here. So without hydrometer test, we won't have this part. So if the curve comes to just intersect with the 60 micron line, and we don't have a D10, for this one, even we want the, without this part, we wouldn't have D10. So if you don't have D10, 10% passing, you won't be able to do the well grading or full grading because we need to have this in the CE. So you have to be able to read out D10, D30, and D60 to be able to classify soil as well grading or full grading. Without D10, you can't. So that's for the step 2. If your first letter is a coastal with G or S. And if you have more than 50% of soils on the fine part, step 3 is for the fine soils, so you have more than 50%, 50% or more on fine soil side. Then you do the
15 or 12.
A line chart that will give you and classify the soil with clay or silt with a high or low plasticity. But one thing I want you to make sure that when you classify the soil using the A-line chart, so this is easy to understand liquid image volume test from the lab report. And this one is the plasticity index, which is difference between the liquid image and plastic image. And sometimes students using the plastic image on the website, I think that's probably the wrong classification. So make sure that in your A-line chart, using the liquid image and the plasticity index, not the plastic image. So then you can, quite straightforward, you put that your soil on this chart, and you can see that what is the cost clay or silt and high plasticity or low plasticity. So in this one, I want you to follow the step 1 before now, the 0.06 millimeter line. And for step 2, for the coarse soil, you need to look at the E equals 2 millimeter line to read out the majority of the proportion gravel or sand, and you need to pay attention to fine soils. So less than 5%, don't need to consider. Between 5 and 4%, this is this is zero classification. More than 5%, we need to classify the significant fines. And with more than 50% on fine soil side, we go to step 3 using the
他妈的，好吧，
So in the case, you need to indicate the solid given, and you need to put your solid on the A-line chart. See, for example, that's like A, so and then you can classify it. So you have to indicate in your workings. Okay, so that's using the unified solid classification system, you can classify any solid that's given to you with a measure which mixture of all kinds of different solids. You need a break? Have a break? Yeah? Okay, then have a break and 5 minutes, we'll come back. And if you have questions, you can come to us. Separated. There's not any other way to do division. So the third part is the soil problem.
fuck.
So in this one here, we are there's a lot of definitions. So what is water content? What is water neutral? What is porosity? What is specific gravity? Air water content? The degree of saturation. There's no any other way to know. It's definition. But the thing is, you have to know the definition to develop those three-phase diagrams. I know it's an open book that you can look at the well-developed three-phase diagram to utilize it to whatever the calculations you need to do. But I really still hope that you can just have a quick practice of these three-phase diagrams start with VS1. And because the voice visual definition, when it's VS1, the voice space is E, and because the VS1 and this is the density of the solid, water, and air, and that's the water density times the specific gravity. And with the water content and the water mass becomes the water content times the mass of the solid. And then we know that mass, you know the volume divided by the rho W, you get the volume. You know the volume of water, you know the volume of air. So that's really nothing else just based on the definition. Nothing else just based on the data system. And if you know the degree of saturation and the void space will be the degree of saturation times the void space will be the volume of water. And this will be the rest of the volume of the air and the mass of air is all to zero. And this, if you know the volume, you can calculate the mass. So you can see that straight away, you can get a formula like this. Like this one here. For this formula, if you know any three of these variables, you can calculate the other one. And you, from this one, you can develop the bulk density, which is the total mass. Divided by the total volume. And you can develop the dry density, which is just the mass of the solid over the total volume. And then any density times the gravity, they give you the unit weight. So I think these calculations are not difficult, and also you have notes you can refer to. But you really need to be careful about when and where to use them. So that's the question asked by previously to say, why the first question is that question we use all the measurements, and the second question we use everything from this one here. I think that's the key thing you need to be very, very clear. All the formulas there for you to use, that is where and when to use them. Once you start to look at the density of the different soils and the unit weight of different soils, it's not just the number you calculate, also the unit attached to it. So any number you report without unit is a wrong answer. You don't know. But some people say, but what if you look at the unit? It's fine. But for the density and the unit weight or any reporting numbers, you need a unit. You have to have a unit with it. Okay. All the questions? Okay. I'll probably else. Okay. for the physical properties, any value that indigenous is free, make write unit down. Otherwise, we have to make that a wrong answer. Anything else? And then we talk about the minerals, the fabrics, the souls. Are you okay? I know. Okay, so this one. I know there's a lot of argument about the book may not be right, and a lot of things are still kind of discussion, which is fine, because we learn geology not become independent, if you want, we can become a geologist. But for this unit, we not require to become a geologist, but we want you to have the basic knowledge that you know where the soil is coming from, where the rock is coming from. But for us, we more like to know the characteristics of those two materials and what is the properties we need to know for engineering design. So that's the main thing. If you go through the practical questions at the end of the chapter 1, if any questions you're not sure about answer, I think most of them you can go back to where you find the correct answer. But anything you want to ask? No? Crystal clear? Yeah? That's good. That's good. I hope you enjoy reading books, not just for tests, but just for your own knowledge and understanding. Because for me, that I can't claim I know a lot of geology, but just by reading this book, I really appreciate it more every time I go walking and hiking and just look at the surroundings. Even just look at look at the this tunnel that you can come to, that's under the house, and you can see limestones, formations, and everything. And the more you know about it from the geological point of view, and the more appreciation you have for nature and for whatever you hold. Okay, we'll go to practical class. If there's any practical questions and you want to find out, how do you okay?
算了，好了，又解决一个。哎呀，呀，终于基本上都解决完了。我现在得去搞这个，明天要考试这本，哎，课终于都补齐了，就是说搞这周的。解一张。Work the examples. Start. 还得搞来上。
Reader.
calculation 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 calculation操他妈的还开着呢吗？忘了都。哎，差点把自己弄成锅迷你了。成了锅迷你， 我根本都不知道是怎么回事，怎么会没有？我记得已经是关了呀。哼，傻逼蛋 ！Host reader。Soil retaining wall，特别生气。算了，我先关了，反正也搞不明白。哎，等明天考试吧。